The Vengeance Factor is the name of our next episode. It's episode number 57 of Star Trek The Next Generation, and it originally aired on November 18th, 1989. It was written by Sam Rolfe and directed by Timothy Bond. And plot-wise with this episode, after investigating a raid on a Federation research facility, the crew of the Enterprise figures out that the Gatherers are the ones who are responsible for that. Now, the Gatherers left their homeworld of Akamar 3 100 years ago as fierce clan blood feuds rampaged across the planet. Now, Akamar enjoys peace now, but the Gatherers still remain nomadic marauders, basically. And Picard takes the Enterprise to Akamar 3 to meet with its sovereign, Marok. And he proposes peace talks. And she agrees and boards the Enterprise with a small entourage. And her cook, Yuda, is with her, and she seems pretty innocent and just like a beautiful young woman. And Commander Riker soon becomes quite taken with her, actually. And in the meantime, Rock directs the Enterprise to a Gatherer encampment. And as the discussions proceed between the Gatherers and Rock, Yuda wanders off and finds an old Gatherer. And after confirming that the man is a member of the Lornak clan, she touches him and he dies. Now, the Lornak clan slaughtered Yuda's clan many years ago, and only 5 of them survive, and they chose Yuda as the instrument of their vengeance. Now, they altered her cells to slow her aging, and then they impregnated her with a biogenetically engineered virus, which is specifically designed to attack only members of the enemy clan. Pretty handy. And the leader of the encampment takes the Enterprise to meet with Chorgan, the head of the Gatherers, and incidentally, a member of the Lornak clan. Now, meanwhile, Dr. Crusher determines the cause of the old man's death, and she searches the Akamarian medical database and finds another victim of the virus from decades earlier. So when Data locates an image of the man, a computer enhancement reveals that Yuda is in the background. So Riker beams over to the Akamarian vessel to stop Yuda from killing Chorgan, and after she resists his repeated commands to stop, Riker vaporizes her, basically. And after this, obviously the two sides are in his debt, and they actually do call a truce and get along, but at the very end, Riker is seen in 10 Forward quite depressed, and Captain Picard mentions to Riker that they're going to be at a local starbase, and he doesn't feel like they need a full complement, basically suggesting to Riker that he should probably take some time off after this. And that's the end of the episode. Now, this is an episode that number 1 has the guest star Lisa Wilcox, who played Yuda. And if you don't recognize Lisa Wilcox, that name, she actually appeared in 2 of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, number 4 and number 5, actually. And she actually, in those movies, she birthed Freddy's child, as you recall, if you've seen those. But this is an episode that kind of has an ending that was kind of controversial, to tell you the truth, because a lot of people weren't sure why Riker did what he did. And I'm kind of puzzled by it too. I'm not puzzled by the fact that Riker shoots Yuda, because she is trying to assassinate somebody. But the reason for Riker vaporizing her, I don't completely understand. He warns her several times to back off, and she doesn't listen to him, so he shoots her. And the 3rd time, he vaporizes her. Well, I don't think that Yuda is invulnerable here, so what I would have done is probably just stun her, take her back to the Enterprise, and throw her in the brig. That seems like the reasonable thing to do. So no wonder Riker would be depressed at 10 Forward for vaporizing somebody he was attracted to. I don't think it was necessary. Now, another thing that a lot of people mention about Riker vaporizing Yuda is in the shot, you can see Picard sitting there, and he basically has no reaction. Now, the real reason Timothy Bond, the director, actually mentions this, it's because of the opticals and the technical parts of the shot. In order for the effect to happened, Picard was not able to move in the shot. So that's kind of a poor excuse that Timothy Bond came up with, and he even acknowledged that years later, because it doesn't really fit into Picard's character just to sit there and have no reaction at all. But because of the way it was shot, that's what happened. What he would have done in retrospect, he says, is probably just not have Picard in the shot at all, and that way you don't have to worry about it. But at the time, they thought it was a good decision and worth doing that. But even Patrick Stewart noticed that why I'm just supposed to sit here and do nothing? The other problem is, what could he do? He knew Riker had to kill the girl, and he didn't want Picard shot by the phaser. So, just a lot of problems with that. But I maintain that I don't think killing Yuta is really necessary here. Other than that, it is interesting to see Riker in a romance where it turns out his loved one is actually somebody who has malevolent intents. This is the first time that we've really seen that, unless you count people who don't actually exist, like Minuet, who tried to stop Riker and Picard in the first season. So you can see why Riker might be a little more depressed about this than normal. I don't really have much to say about that other than that. Comment below about your thoughts about the vengeance factor, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks, guys.